Okay, let's continue where we left off. So you can see the queries are right. Find ancestors of territory 10 in version 4, for example. Uh, in version 10, where is version territory 10? Um, Territory 5, territory 1, and then root. Okay, so it found it right. So all of them are okay. So now let's go to property agent. Um, in property agent, some of the things you may want to see are, um, for example, here, if I say, show me all the properties of a member, Amber, in employee dimension across all versions, okay? Um, so it'll find out all the properties Amber had, and it'll show you nicely, okay? And it'll also set the context and so on. So, um, so the payloads are pretty. So you can see here is did it beautifully. The first name property, when it valid from what version, last name property, job title, salary, birth date, hire date as two version in uh, the hire date, if you were first hired, it's only valid between these two versions. Then this one was valid between tour of duty. It's basically because we saw Amber is a complex employee. She left and rejoined and so on. So it's a more interesting use case. So that's one of the reason I keep trying. Okay. And it also gives you a nice summary at the end. Now, without repeating the context, you can ask, what about John? Okay. And John is not that interesting because not much change happened. But nevertheless, it'll give a similar property. Ooh. Um, See, this is what I was saying. Sometimes it fails. Um, I need to go figure out how to make it. Uh, I see. Um, I think the some lookup is failing. I mean, I need to look at that. So in the case of an audit agent, I had to do a. Let me go look at the audit. It's a similar thing. Show me all audit entries of in across all version. See, remember that the table we saw where when she got joined, all the tour of duty, and when the parent changed, and then because one of the parent moved to a different parent, and then she left the company, she came back, rejoined with. So all of that is nicely summarized here. Okay. Seven, she removed as a child of Olivia, and she joined under Stephen. This is the lineage or the profile, and then she got deleted, um, and then she rejoined and reactivated, and with the new manager Olivia, and then we set different attributes, first name, last name, and all of that. Okay. Um, so I don't want to go through other agents, but it's the same thing. They all implemented. I will go through in the implementation video. Um, Let me give you a sneak preview of data time travel. Okay, if you look at this, um, or not this. So I had to go into Modeler 1, f50enterprise.com. So here we are simulating Fortune 50 customer. Uh, they have lots of data sources. Okay, there are multiple dimensional sources, multiple transactional sources. Here I'm simulating adaptive data, uh, enterprise GL data, ERP orders, Salesforce, opportunity service now, um, workday count, and all of that, workday timesheet. So I was able to ask Claude to say, give me a realistic data that is represented by those enterprise company. It generated a nice, realistic looking data over 52 weeks. All those 52 weeks I loaded as snapshot into Iceberg, and unlike the metadata time travel we saw, so here I'm doing an Iceberg time travel, which I will be able to show you in depth in another video, but it's a quick preview. This is like, for example, version 51. This is the customer data. This is all generated by Cloud. Okay. And you can see I can go back in time, version 50, all that. Okay. And I can even take the transactional data, adaptive actual. So you see here 51, 50, and all of that. And time travel analytics is basically you are comparing two versions. Let's take transactional, let's say adaptive actuals, compare 50 and 51. Will show you 21 rows got added. You can see what got added, what got deleted, what got modified. Okay. And this many things remain unchanged. So this is, and this is all the predicate and Spark queries pushed onto Iceberg and get executed. Okay, I'll give you, and I similarly I have a Delta and time travel agent where I can query these data at different versions in a natural language like the way I did before. Okay. Um, so that is that. And let me show you a few more things. I will log in as a, I will go back to ABC Corp. I'll log in as a normal user. Okay. Normal user, you can see it does not have access to the creating an effective hierarchy. So that agent disappeared. All these are permission control. If you go to dimension, the create button disappeared. But otherwise, they have read a permission and that they can do the same view. There's no difference. If we come to MDM agent, you can see now it is user, you are not allowed to make changes to the metadata. So it clearly says that. And so it's a security sensitive conversation. Okay. Um, okay, that is that. Now, I want to show you the administrative functionality. Okay. Admin has, so you can see all the metadata and all is disappeared there because they don't have any functional access, but they have access to company agent. Okay. So they can say list all users. Okay. So this is a agent, this is an administrative for ABC Corp company. But there's a SaaS admin which looks across all companies. I will log in as a SaaS admin also. You can see these are all the different users. That's a modeler one, ABC Corp administrator, and so on. Okay. And there are, you can delete user, update user, all of that. Like they don't need to know the API. A lot of these, there's a pretty well defined JSON API, which I'm going to go through in detail in my implementation, and you can get more detail there. This is very interesting. Okay, so before I go there, I want to show you a little bit about. I have a new design for permission. You may think, oh, what's a big deal? I mean, this is something every company does well, but I feel there was a pain point that I'm trying to address here. Okay. Um, so before that, I should show you. Uh, so there is a property controller. This is Swagger API. You can see it's a very detailed Java doc. What is the operation? What are the API responses for error codes? And you can see it is all controlled at the permission level. Okay, it's a very fine grain. There are something like 600 methods. Every one of them has a very fine grain control, but it's going to be humongous burden on a consultant to set up all of these properly. Okay, so so basically the taxonomy is there is a system defined roles. You can see here the roles like company admin, integrator, modeler, SaaS admin, user, and all of that. These are all system defined, and you can define custom roles and all of that. Okay, everybody does that. Okay, uh, but then there is, these are all the fine grained permission. There are quite a lot of them. Okay, there are 90 of them. Company delete, company all, role create, role add, permission group, user update, hierarchy update. You can see there are, and all of these control different API endpoints. Okay, it's almost impossible for someone to define that. So I end up creating a permission groups. Um, okay, you want to do an edge management or member management or audit management, which is a collection of fine grained permission. So you can create a custom role and create this. Okay, even that's not a big deal. Probably a lot of companies do that. But what companies, a lot of them don't do is, I'll show you an example. Okay. Let me create a new role called, okay, demo to world role. Okay. Let me just add a permission called edge create. Okay. So I just want this role to be able to create an edge. But the problem is, to create an edge, you need to access to the member. You need to have access to the dimension. You need to have access to the hierarchy. You need to access to this and that. How am I supposed to know that, right? This is where life becomes very complicated. Because now let's see what will happen is, this is one of the, none of the software I worked with make this easy. Okay. So I made it easy by if we just save it, you know what happens? Okay, this was the one. Okay. Now you can see it automatically added all the other things that you need. So under the cover, I maintain an enormous transitive closure and a dependency graph of, because I want to make it easy, because this also will, it's essential to make LLM enable. In LLM, I just want to come and say, hey, I want to create somebody want to be able to add an edge. I don't want that LLM time to say, oh, let them add an edge and give them dimension. Who knows what all is there, right? So even though it looks like a simple roles and permission agent, I I I I had to do this. Without that, the LLM experience would be awful. Okay, so you don't want to specify all of these to be able to create an edge. Okay, so why this part? But see, correct design of an API is not at a row level. It should be a fine grain permission. Okay, that's the security standard. Even every page is fine grain permission control. But how do you get the permission? That makes the life complicated, but this makes the life easier. Okay, so fine grained permission allows you to design software beautifully, but management is complicated. But you need innovation like this to make it easy. Okay, so now let's go and do this thing where I have some interesting permission quotient. So list all roles. Okay, so this is not a big deal. It'll show you all the roles. Come on. Yes, the LM calls like you, they, okay, so it gave you all the roles, including the new role we created, I think. Yeah, demo to world role. Okay. And it gives you all the details about what the description, permission group, additional permission is either you can give that predefined permission group like edge management, hierarchy management, or all that, which is a collection of permission, or you can give additional permission, but under the cover, I do a transitive closure to give you all the set of permission that you need to be consistent. Okay. So you will never ever end up in hot water where you gave an inconsistent set of permission. Okay, that's another nice property of this. So if you ask this question, uh, yeah, test four. It's the same edge create. Because that is similar to this demo that I created. Then it says, do you want to get more detailed information and about the dependencies? So I say, yeah. Let me say, uh, yes. Get me all all dependent permission. So now it will go and say what the system does. It will actually give you um, the information that I talked to you about. Okay. So very few software design it this way. So you can see current permission is this, direct dependency is this, but it got audit read. This is the transitive closure. This is a base permission, version read, depends on audit read, and dimension read. So all of these got added. Everyone needs an audit read, so you got it. Because member read, uh, you need dimension read needs version read this. So this graph I maintain under the cover and then I add it. So you cannot screw yourself, right? That's a thing. The last thing I want to show you is a SaaS admin. Okay, SaaS admin is the person who actually maintains all the multi tenants. Okay, so far there also there's an agent. You only have a company agent, like we can say list all companies. Um, Now I'm going to create a company. So it shows all the companies. Like these are all the things I'm simulating in my data load. Okay. Um, so now let me say create a company. Create a company data as of XXL, which is a SaaS company building agentic master management. It addresses this. Um, So it's going to create that, not a, it's again, it's all possible thanks to LangGraph library, and it created it. Now um, if I list the companies, it should show the new one. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much it. You can see like AI and LLM play a pretty significant role in how I design the API, um, how the system is the experience is presented to the user. Okay, it's a AI first design. I'll have more to say in the implementation section. Thanks for listening.